do you need help with the pro late models at the Charlotte Dirt Track? Stick around because in this video, I'm going to be showing you my setups for both qualifying and the feature, and I'm going to show you how to actually execute your qualifying and what is the best line to run when the track slicks off in the A main. So all of that and more right after this. What's up everybody, Thomas Brandon here. Welcome to another School of Sim Racing video. Now really quick, if this is your first time joining me, welcome. And what we do here is typically look at ways to help you get faster in iRacing, whether it's late models, midgets, sprint cars, you name it, we try to cover it. Now, really quick, some quick house cleaning. For those of you who've been asking, asphalt stuff is coming. Asphalt Oval is coming. It's a few weeks out. I'm really backed up in terms of things that I'm trying to do right now and, get set up and built. SSR has blown up so fast, so quickly that I really fell behind. But with our leagues and the school and the trainings and all the stuff that's going on, once I get all that stuff caught up, and it should be caught up here in the next week or two, I'll start putting out asphalt content so you guys can actually start jumping into that as well. Now, in this video, like I said, we're going to be taking a look at the pro late models at Charlotte. And now I'm going to be honest with you. These cars are a little difficult for me, and it's really for two reasons. So reason number one is I'm really rusty. Up until a week and a half ago, I hadn't been in a late model for like 2 months. When we were doing the open wheel masterclass, we were doing all the sprint cars and midgets and non-wing stuff. I didn't do one late model test, one late model. I didn't turn any late model laps, okay, except for when I was doing a one-on-one coaching session with somebody who wanted to do the late models. And, I might have turned myself 2 laps, like showing them something. That was it. So I'm a little rusty when it comes to these things. More importantly, these pro late models, I actually find them to be more difficult than the super late models. The reason is that I'm really big on throttle control, meaning I've got to be able to work that throttle. When it comes to running stuff just wide open on a rail, keeping it straight, with these late models, I'm not the best at doing that. Okay, I'm just not. That's all there is to it. And so when it comes to qualifying in these things, I don't always lay down the quickest times. Now, that being said, those of you out there who are better than me at late models, which a lot of you probably are, for me to turn a 15.7, right, with this setup in this car on this track, means you can probably do a 15.6, okay? So for those of you who actually run these things consistently, you're going to find that your times are going to get much better than mine, okay? Because like I said, I'm not only rusty, but I don't drive these pros that well. I find myself to do better in the super late models than the pros. So let's get into what we're going to be doing here. All right, let's dive right into the garage. Check out the setup. So first things first is when it comes to the setup, and these setups will be available for you to download. They'll be down in the description below. And if you want to get videos like this every single week and get my setups, I'll have a link for you. You can head over to my Discord server and you can sign up for my new insider program. It's $2 a week, or excuse me, $2 a month, and that'll get you every week a breakdown for that car, a video breakdown of the official race at iRacing, along with my setups for that race. And you can pick, whatever ones you want, all the carts, so that way you're not paying for stuff that you don't use or stuff that you don't drive. And if you want to actually get more than one, right, we've got a discount for, bulk. So if you, get like 3, or if you want to sign up for 3 or 4 of them, then you'll start saving money. So it's a really good deal. It's really cheap. And for those of you who don't have time to do a bunch of testing and to figure all these setups and this stuff out on your own, it's really good because you can get the setups and the video content at the start of each week and go out, spend 30 minutes watching it, and then just go race. I mean, you don't have to, it saves you a ton of time. So if that sounds interesting to you, like I said, I'll have the information down below so you can head over and sign up for that. But to the setups here. So first off, we're going to be doing 5 inches of stagger. Got the air pressures basically same that I always run. I had someone ask me if I ever adjust the air pressures. I do occasionally. It really depends on the track. The bigger tracks, I usually stick with the lowest I can go in the rears, which is 8 pounds. Some of the smaller tracks, so when we get to like Fairbury or even, you know, Kokomo, Limaland or Limaland. I know you guys always say I say the track names wrong. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say them. But like tracks like that, there are occasions where I'll actually raise up that air pressure to 9 or 10 pounds because you can jack this air pressure up. I think it's like 25 pounds. Now, I don't know any situation that you would run 25 pounds, but you can do it. So, there is some adjustability in there. Now, for our chassis, there's a lot going on here. I'm not going to go through every single thing. One day here in the very near future, I'm going to do a video where I break down chassis setups and adjustments and why you'd make these changes and when you would do it and what those changes do. Right now, I'm not going to do that. Just know with the late models, you're really wanting to keep the nose down and the back up, okay? That really gives you the best benefit when it comes to the aerodynamics of the car, right? When you start looking about downforce, you look at these cars, they're shaped like bullets. That's how they look. And so you really want to keep that front valence as close to the ground as possible and then have that rear deck lid up so you can maximize your traction. Now, for those of you who would be like, well, Tommy, wouldn't you want that rear deck lid down to reduce drag? Well, if you do that, you're also risking raising up the front end, which can cause drag. So it's this real, like teeter-totter effect when you're looking at the car, right? The front and the back. And so I have discovered that having the front down and the back up seems to be the best combination. So that's what we want to try to do. Now, everything else, all right, we've got our springs. You're going to find that with most of my setups, I run a lot of the same spring setups. I do vary here and there, 25, 50 pounds here and there, but overall, it's pretty much the same springs. And then we've got our shock combinations. Now, the shocks will vary quite a bit. When we look at the feature setup here in just a little bit, you're going to notice that the shocks are really, really different. We've got 181 pounds of bite to the left rear. A lot of times I'll be running more than 200. Here I have found in qualifying that about 180 to 200, depending on your driving style, will work really well. Now, for those of you who like the car to be a whole lot more tight, all you got to do is come over here and jack up this left rear. Keep in mind, when you do that, this deck lid will be too high. So as you jack up the left rear, drop the right rear, okay? And what you'll find is you can increase that deck lid. If we raise this up a little bit here, whoops, I hit the wrong button. And now we've got 206 and our deck lid is back under where we want it. Okay, so that is another way that you can do it if you want to tighten it up. But like I said, for me, I have found that that is the best. All right. And then we got a 497 gear. We really want to try to keep these things revved up with these smaller motors. They just don't have the power that the super late models do. All right, so let's head out. Let's actually turn a couple of laps. All right, so first things first when it comes to qualifying here, really from what I have found is that the key to these pro late models, it's pretty much like the limited late models. The key really to these things is keeping the momentum up. You're just not bogging them down coming out of the corner. Now, because of this, one of the things I like to do is I actually like to run my first lap when I'm qualifying kind of like around the middle to the top, just to build up momentum, every little bit of momentum that I can, so I can carry that down low into turn 1 and 2. Okay, so let's do our qualifying real quick. So lap 1, gonna just take it around the middle here. And you can see there in the center of the screen, I'm still pedaling the car. Take her down low. Try to keep her straight coming out the corner. And there's our run. All right. So let's see what kind of lap times we turned. And so that last lap we did a 15.7. Now keep in mind this was a 10% track when I started. And I've done almost 40 laps on it. So it's probably about maybe a 12% track. What I would say is this is probably right around where you're going to end up qualifying at. I would expect your qualifying to be somewhere between, 10 and 15%. Um, 15.7, I'm going to be honest with you. 15.7, you're not going to be sitting on a whole lot of poles, if any. Most of the quick times that I've seen in the Pro Late Model Series at Charlotte, it's usually 15.6. So if you can get into the 15.7s, you should be starting, somewhere in the top 4 of the heat race, depending on which split you're in. And that'll give you a good chance to transfer directly out of the heat race, which is really what you're trying to do in the official races. You want to just get out of the heat race directly to the feature. If you can do that, then you have set yourself up, in a good position to not only compete for, top 5s and, top 10s, but potentially victories depending on how well you run. And it gives you that opportunity to continue, stepping up that ladder for your, your licenses, because some of you might be only at a C license right now. So anyways, that's going to do it for the qualifying. Now, how do we handle the heat races and the feature? Well, the heat race is actually simple. You don't touch the car. You leave it alone. Just go out and run it. So that's really simple. But for the feature, that's another story, because now we've got a new variable, which is a dry slick racetrack. And these cars are really different when it comes to driving on the dry slick. They're not like the wing sprint cars. All right, so let's head over and take a look at the slick track. All right, so we've got our 50% track up right now, as you can see, 50%. And here's the thing. We got some warmer weather, higher humidity. Here's the deal with the track states and, more importantly, the lap times. It's really hard to know how you're going to stack up against the competition until you go out and race the competition. I have done testing sessions before, okay, me personally, where I was out turning what I thought were horrendous laps, and then I go out and literally set fast time with the exact same setup, driving the exact same line. And then I've had some where I felt really, really good. I'm like, man, this car is fast. And I get out on the track and I'm like, why is everybody just leaving me in the dust? So these testing sessions are really designed to help you get a feel for the car, what it can do, what's the range of it, and then really the only way to know for sure is the rubber meets the road, right? You got to get out there and you got to, or in this case, the rubber meets the dirt, right? You got to get out there and you got to race it. So just know that because I've had a lot of people be like, hey, well, those lap times don't look that fast. And it's like, they're not, but you're not going to know for sure until you get out and drive it. Okay, so I just wanted to say that because, like I said, now, first of all, let me tell you, first, my lap times are probably going to be a little bit slower anyways, because like I said, pro late models are not my best, okay? Like, I'm better than a lot of people, but there's still a lot of people better than me when it comes to the pro late models. So know that. You take that into consideration along with everything else I just said. You got the recipe for some potentially bad lap times. So anyways, that being said, let's take a look at the feature setup. All right, now really quick, a few minor adjustments. We dropped the stagger down to 4 inches. This is just, stagger is what gives the car the natural rotation. These cars really they have to rotate. Okay, so it's not like a wing sprint car where you can go in relatively straight, get the car wing down and just right around the corner. You got to get these things to rotate. Even if you're running the top, they've got to rotate. So we want them to rotate. The thing is that if you get them rotating too much, they snap around on you just like that. So we don't want them to be crazy loose on entry. So we're going to run 4 inches of stagger. Okay, that's pretty good for this track. Next thing that we've got is we've got our springs in the front are pretty much the same as they were with our base setup. Now in the rear, a little bit different. So I've actually got them reversed on this setup. So I've got the 200-pound spring in the left rear now and a 175 in the right rear. This is something that I do quite often with open wheel setups. It's something that we did in real life on open wheel setups. It's called reverse split. and it works really, really well on slick tracks. I tried it on these late models. I actually really like it. Now, I don't run it on all my setups, but here at Charlotte, it seems to work pretty good. It gives the car a really nice feel, and that's the main thing. Most people get so hung up on lap times and speed, and that's all great, but if you can't drive it, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fast the setup is. If you can't control it, then what's the difference? So for me, I found this to feel really good going in, driving through the corner, and it lays down good times, and that's always an added bonus. So we've got that. Everything else is basically the same, right? You see very few changes. Now we do have some more left rear bite, okay, and we've dropped our final drive from what we had, a 497 to a 486. That's just with the slick track. We're trying to reduce some of the wheel spin. Keep in mind that if you are running the bottom, if you're not running the bottom like perfect, it's going to bog down more, okay? So that's something you always want to keep in mind when you go putting in a taller gear in any car, let alone a Pro Late model. So let's head over to the track here and let's turn a couple laps. The quickest way around Charlotte when the track slicks off is around the top. Now, here's the deal. This auto-generated track state at 50% is a little bit more, it's actually closer in representation than what we normally get. The middle's worn out and you've got a bottom and a top. And so that's, actually pretty nice. Normally the auto-generated track states, when you get up to the higher percentages, are nothing like they are in a real race setting. But that being said, we want to be running the top. That's really the fastest way around. Now, if you can run the bottom, if you can get down and run the bottom and do it smoothly, then do it, because most everybody's going to be on the top. And so running the bottom definitely has its advantages, okay? So let's turn a few laps here around the top. We got our little 2 crossed up there. Now, one of the good things about these cars is that you can bang it off the walls and you hardly ever get a 2X. You can see I got a 0 there. So that's the nice thing about them. Get it set, get her in, and get on the throttle. That's all we're trying to do with these things. Make sure you get that thing rotated good, because it's going to push coming out that corner if you don't get it up on the bars and get that thing rotated with all that left rear bite. See right there, I just tapped the wall with my tail and got a 0. I bogged her down a little bit coming out of the corner there. All right, so that's how we run the top. Now, down on the bottom here, you can see that we're going to have to be a lot more finesse with the car with driving it because of the slick. We got to make sure that we get the car in, and then we got to get out under that slick. And that can be a difficult thing to do, especially for me. Right, get her down, hug that bottom, just pedal the car through the corner. Once you got that thing rotated by the apex, just like that, then get on the throttle and you're good, all right? So that's basically how you're gonna run Charlotte with this Pro Late model. Now, I know we've only got I think today is actually the last day that the official race is at Charlotte. I got this video out kind of late, and that's because this is really it's just kind of a look at the insider, the insider program. So, like I said before, if you like this stuff and you want to get more of it, right, $2 a month, you know what I mean, then it's not a big deal to you, then head over, use the link down in the description below. You head over to the Discord, you'll use the upgrade chat bot, I think is what it's called, and there'll be some directions in there, and get signed up. And then at the start of every single week, you'll get the video for whatever classes you sign up for, along with all the setups. All right, which would be tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm putting out all of them for all the cars. So anyways, that'll do it. All right, now really quick before you go, if you like this, please do me a favor, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe. All right, even though I'm not gonna be putting out these exact breakdowns, right? Like this is gonna be, you know, over in my insider stuff. I still have a ton of stuff I'm gonna be doing. Like I said, I got asphalt stuff coming. Still gonna be putting out sprint car videos and midgets and everything else. Plus, I'm also gonna be starting streaming full time on Twitch. I'm getting all that set up right now. I'll be streaming my league races and all my, you know, big events coming up. We have the Kings Royal that I'm putting on coming up, the 360 Kings Royal, plus our 360 Knoxville Nationals and our Dirt Midget Speed Week, like all that stuff. I'm putting together a USAC sprint car league, and we're going to be running a USAC sprint week. Like we got a ton of big stuff coming up. Even, I mean, later on in the year, I'm going to be putting on a Chili Bowl. Like I'm going to be doing a ton of stuff, and so all that stuff will be streaming and broadcasting and putting on here. So make sure that you're subscribed so you catch all that stuff. All right, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified when I put that stuff out. All right, and lastly, do me a favor, if you use this stuff and you do good with it, you win with it, whatever, leave a comment down below. I love hearing about you guys and girls. I love hearing about you going out there and crushing people with this stuff. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that I actually have haters because they don't like the fact that I'm sharing secrets and they're getting their butts kicked. I love, you know how much I love that? It's awesome. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Talk about a sore loser, right? Like how sore of a loser can you be? You're upset that somebody's giving away stuff for free and then that stuff is beating you. Instead of just coming over and getting the same stuff for free, you'd rather be a hater, right? Like I love that. So let's just stomp the trolls and haters, please. And when you do, let me know in the comments below because it absolutely just makes my day. All right. And if you guys do all that for me, and girls, if you guys do, guys and girls, I keep doing it. I'm sorry. If you do all that for me, there we go. I will be back here to do this all over again. Until then, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care. See you in the next video. And until then, have a good one.